And there is an audio from him in which I asked to Tesla, is that possible for you to appear in image and talk? I mean, if he could do simultaneously appear and talk. And he replied, possible and will. Let's listen.
Is that possible for you to appear in image and talk to me?
Possible and will. Possible and will.
Hello and welcome to Afterlife Topics and Metaphysics. This is Cyrus, so we have a very special guest on, which is Sonia Rinaldi. Now, Sonia Rinaldi is somebody who I've referenced quite a bit in my books. I would say one of the premier ITC researchers on the planet, if not the most premier ITC researcher, directly connecting the field of life after death with technology. And I think a lot of people in this area have seen or heard about Sonia's work. And so it's great to have Sonia here. Sonia is actually Dr. Sonia Rinaldi with a PhD in science of religion. And she has been working in this area for over 30 years. So she is here today with also her assistant, Amy, as she says, the best assistant that Nikola Tesla could find. And so we are here with Amy. Hi, Amy.
Hello, everybody. Hi.
And of course, Sonia Rinaldi.
Hello, people. And thank you for the opportunity, Cyrus, for being here talking to you and your listeners.
It's great to have you. So the last time that I saw you, Sonia, was in Phoenix, and it was I was actually across from you when we were at a David Thompson seance when we had a Konstantin Rodive, or if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, come through, who you sometimes describe as your boss. I think we'll talk more about that later, but that was a very interesting night, wasn't it?
Oh, for sure. It was a surprise for me that he materialized there and talked to me. Oh, I was, my English is not that, and at that moment I couldn't understand everything that he was saying, but thank God Sherry was at my side and Victor Zamet, and both helped me to understand what Dr. Rodive was talking to me.
So for people watching, Dr. Rodive was the guy, I believe, who created the term EVP, electronic voice phenomenon. So if you are familiar with anything involved in the para world, ghost hunting, Rodive was the guy who got a lot of that whole EVP thing going. So Sonia and I were at a materialization seance in Arizona, and Rodive appeared in the room, lights off, of course, speaking in his thick German accent. And he's also come through many other instruments and through many other methods over the decades since he passed away. And Rodive works with Sonia Rinaldi from another dimension, from what we call the afterlife, in the production of very high quality ITC imagery, as well as another very important team member who has identified himself very clearly through images and through audio, that of Nikola Tesla. And so as difficult as this may be to believe, in my estimations as an afterlife researcher, there is certainly something supernatural happening here. And Sonia has been using this technology and this capacity to not only reunite people with their deceased loved ones in very lucid ways through visual and auditory contact, but also with living people. So people in comas or children who are autistic and who do not speak. And it is really a remarkable area. And it is kind of the next level. People who are interested in EVP, maybe you watched some ghost hunting TV show and you heard people with recorders. Well, this is the next level of that. This is that idea taken to a very thorough, scientific, and highly controlled professional level. So with that, I want to also now turn it back to Sonia, back to Amy, because we're going to do a presentation about kind of how all that works and some examples of this happening, the process of this happening. So let's go ahead and start on that presentation. Is that good, Sonia?
Yes, for sure.
Okay.
Amy will show for us. I thought of initially saying what instrumental transcommunication is, because many people may not know. So it is how we call the communication between our plane of life, our dimension, and other dimensions through devices, electronic devices. No mediumship, nothing, okay? What type of electronic devices? Anyone that we have at home, such as computer, cameras, telephone, laptops, cell phones, anything that we have at home. It is not required any specific device, and not to spend too much money in the device, because the technology is not ours. It is from the other side. The instrumental transcommunications can come either in voices or in transimages. We will talk today, I brought examples only of transimages. So I know some cases of voice, but we'll talk more about transimages because I particularly like more transimages. So they can appear as deceased apparitions, or also they can manipulate light in front of the camera live, so that it is another type of phenomenon. They can manipulate the vapor, and I brought some cases because I think this is absolutely fascinating, because they can manipulate the vapor in real time in front of the camera. And what's so interesting that I made the tests in Orlando, and it worked marvelously. So also we have cases of transholography, also may happen materialization of light, and the apparition of ultra-terrestrials, humanoids, extraterrestrials, and other beings. So these are related to transimages. So, but we will first show you some voices, and these, so that you can perceive how clear the voices are now. And I would say that in the late 5 years, more or less, and since Tesla was announced to be the new coordinator for the transmission stations, all them, to Earth, I think that we have a very clear advancement. So, as you mentioned, yes, I started some 30 years ago, but for some 25 years, it was everything very slow. You know, the development was very slow. Possibly they were testing my patience. So I think that after they were convinced that okay, I was determined to do what I had to do, things started improving. And in the late 4 or 5 years, we have voices very, very clear, and transimages very, very impressive. So we will see this first case with Murray Millar, who is a Canadian. He is the husband of Betty Ann. Betty Ann is my friend, and I made some recordings. And Murray was the first to inform that Tesla was in the station. What obviously a surprise for me, because I was only used to speak to deceased ones. And Murray said that Tesla was the new coordinator, and I said, oh my God, which Tesla? I was surprised. I could never imagine that Nikola Tesla, the great inventor, could participate of this type of research. So let's listen. I ask if Murray has a message for Betty Ann, and he replies, I say to her, I have returned it to you, what's true, because he returned it to her, right, in via devices, and then says, I love you. Let's listen.
Can we speak a message to Etienne?
I say, I shall return to you. I love you. I say, I shall return to you. I love you. I say, I shall return to you. I love you.
Okay, and then we have another example. This is from Tesla himself. And once I asked him, I asked if he was aware of the event that would happen in the United States, in Boston and in Orlando. And before I put the question, he replied, absolutely, confirming. And then after I put the question, he says, of course I am. Okay, let's listen.
Are you aware of the event in the United States, in Boston and Orlando?
Of course, I am. Absolutely.
Are you aware of the event in the United States, in Boston and Orlando?
Of course, I am. Absolutely.
Are you aware of the event in the United States, in Boston and Orlando?
Of course, I am.
Okay, so we will have a look now in some Transimages. And one technology that's, let's see, that I created, it's not that I created, because I tried to follow what the way that they present to me as something that works. So I perceived it since long ago that they need light, they need something shining in front of the camera so that they can manipulate the light and create images. So this first image at left is Daring. He is Scott Milligan's assistant, and he was there in Orlando with me. And he was holding a cloth, shining, and this image was created aside Daring's face, right? At the right up, we also have again Daring and a big head, what we can imagine that is not exactly a human. And below, I don't remember who was behind there. I am at the side, and another big head, because it is very common for ultra-terrestrials and humanoids to appear. And why? Because they are the bosses. They are the ones that understand how to manage light. Men in the other side didn't reach such knowledge yet. So they still need the supervision and the cooperation of higher beings. Okay.
If I can just jump in real quick, I saw at the bottom right, it almost looked like looks like an Egyptian guy. Like okay.
Oh yeah. Yes, yes. In truth, I think that many, and in our last magazine, we have one particularly with which looks precisely like Akhenaton, that is pharaoh, Egyptian, Akhenaton, very similar. Yes.
Yeah, it looks like that definitely looked like an Egyptian guy down there. Anyway.
Okay. And another case also from Orlando, from the workshop, was with Brandon. Brandon, as we see, obviously, has Asiatic traces. He was from Cambodia. And during I was recording Brandon, okay, during the workshop with all people aside us in the same room. Amy was there too. And Brandon, in a certain moment of his recording, he becomes a beautiful girl. Not only this one that we have now, which is Lily, that was recognized by her mother, but also other blonde girls. And it was very surprising. obviously for Brandon because he is brunette, has nothing to do, and he appeared as a blonde girl. That is, this phenomenon is called transfiguration. That is when one person is transformed into another. In this case that we are showing now, Brandon became this little girl that was recognized as being Lily, and so it is Lily's apparition.
Who was Lily?
I think that Amy is the best to explain because she received all the communications from the mothers.
Ah, okay.
If she, Amy would like to say something about Lily's mother.
Lily's actually I've received a lot. Okay, this is very interesting, and I'm not going to try to say it very quickly. But we had a boy.
Amy, I don't mean to cut you off. Is it possible to lower your microphone or speak a little less close to the microphone?
Okay, let me see. Is that any better?
Yeah, it's better. Yeah.
Okay, so we had a few months back a boy who was recognized. It was an incredibly clear trans image, and his mom was part of a parent grief support group called Warrior Parents. And I think he went and told all his friends because we had, dozens and dozens of parents from that group recognize their children. And she was just one of the girls. But this little girl is amazing. And her mom had sent me video that she got of, you could see, it's like video, you could see the little girl walking. You can see her energy. And we'll include it in the next report. But she's just one of the people who is recognized.
Yeah. Okay, so in this next case, I was recording Sandra Champlain's face. So she's here at left. And during the recording, she became this transimage here in the middle. And I promptly recognized that she could be Olivia because I had seen Olivia's picture because her mother had sent it to me some time ago. And then I sent immediately to Jennifer, Olivia's mother, asking, is this Olivia? And she promptly agreed and said, oh, yes. And obviously she was very happy. But something very particular that happened in this case is that some days later, Jennifer, that is Olivia's mother, she perceived that in the neck of Sandra, that is below Olivia's face, there was traces of a boy. And she was extremely surprised because this face looked like Olivia's boyfriend, also deceased. So they are together. And I didn't perceive this when I saw the video and when I saw the image. I just saw Olivia, and the mother perceived that there was a face below. And then she sent to me, she said, isn't there a face? I said, oh, yes. And then she said, oh, it looks like Bailey. That was Olivia's boyfriend. So the next case is Melissa's apparition. I tried to bring only special cases, and this was very nice. We were filming this lady at right, Patricia, and Patricia was at the workshop in Orlando with us too. And when I was watching Patricia's video, I perceived that, wow, there is something strange because she's only half of the video and the other half is not Patricia. And then I looked more accurately and I said, oh, for God's sake, this is Melissa, her daughter. And then I sent to Patricia and said, is that possible that this half is Melissa? And then she immediately sent this beautiful picture from Melissa. But there is also something special in this case, besides the fact of appearing half and half. And this happened for some, let's say, 2 minutes, or which is a long time, right? So in the next page, in the next slide, we see, Amy, please change it. Yeah. No, one less, please. I think that
what we have of Melissa.
It was not there. Okay, so I'll just tell. What's surprising in this case of Melissa's apparition was that long time, I mean, let's say, some 2 years ago, I met Patricia, and she sent me a picture of Melissa. But Melissa died as a teenager. She was, I think, 18 years old. She in the photo that Patricia sent, Melissa had straight hair, right? So when I saw this transimage, half of Patricia's face, I said, but her hair is different because she had the straight hair. How she appeared with the curly hair? And then when she sent me the photo showing that the true hair of Melissa was curly. And so it is curious because I thought she was straight, and she came as she really was in natural, right? Okay, so let's go. This was something that I think is amazing. They showed that they can write. And I was holding a brilliant cloth, and they wrote P-A-Z, which is in Portuguese, paz, which means peace in English. So I think it is such an incredible message because they wrote in a piece of cloth the word peace. So possibly that is what they want for us, right? And this case, I think that Amy also likes this case. It is because I don't know who was holding these. I don't know if Amy remembers. Somebody was holding this cloth, and they designed this guy with these, I don't know how to call it, these, in the neck, he has this, not collar, I don't know how to call, and a cover like this. And that was precisely the same design that Amy made for my book, Alpha One Mission. And you see that the cloth is precisely the same, and this was done by Amy. So yes. It is as, yeah.
Let me cut in because Sonia actually can channel, and she channeled this book in a few weekends from a higher source. I don't know exactly, but she wanted me to make a cover, and she was trying to explain what they look like because she got these images of what these beings look like. And so I was like, okay, and I kind of drew this, and then some weeks later, you know, we get this image, and she goes, see, I told you that's what they look like.
That's true. So, okay, let's go. And now we have Transimage from Tesla himself. Tesla died at the age of 86 years old, but something curious is that all the time they appear younger. If the person died as an old man or an old lady, they will appear with the age of 40, 35 years old, no more. And if it is a teenager, they are appearing frequently as a child, and in pictures that nobody has. Neither the family has precisely that image. Here it is curious because Tesla is a famous scientist by that time. All the pictures that exist from him, obviously he's serious. He couldn't smile and laugh because these would not be proper for an inventor. So it was curious because in this transimage he appeared smiling, and I think that that is the only one in the planet because he never appeared smiling. And there is an audio from him in which I asked to Tesla, is that possible for you to appear in image and talk? I mean, if he could do simultaneously appear and talk. And he replied, possible and will. Let's listen.
Is that possible for you to appear in image and talk to me?
Possible and will. Possible and will. Possible and will.
Okay.
Now I'll just cut in real quick. I went to the Nikola Tesla Museum in Belgrade a couple of months ago. And even in the museum, they mentioned Tesla's interest in contacting the beyond when he was alive in this world. And so it makes logical sense that he becomes one of the main guys facilitating this from that side. And of course, I also went to the guest book, and I was sure to write in the guest book that Tesla still lives.
Yes, that's more than ever.
In fact, I think sometime you should ask him what he thinks of the Nikola Tesla Museum. I thought it was a very fun museum because everybody participates in a electrical experiment, and it was a lot of fun. So I hope that Tesla has a chance to see his own museum sometime. Anyway,
I'm sure. Okay, so more recently, that is about 1 year or something ago, I started what I call the Milligan Experiment in respect, in honor of Scott Milligan, because he was the one who helped me at the beginning. And I started with very simple things. And I started with, in the middle, you can see chocolate egg format. That is a mold. It's a mold for making egg chocolate. So I used that for recording images. And then in the sequence, Scott Milligan's guide, Daniel, gave me some suggestion for improve these experiments. And we are in this new track now. But that is how I started. And I think that Amy will show us some results inside the egg.
Yes, and I just want to specify that these little micro projectors are projecting static. So
yes.
It's like TV static, sort of like that. But we started using color static and got better results. So let me go to that.
Yes, and by the way, that illustration was made by Amy, so she knows precisely, and she accompanied some experiments in Orlando with static. So using this kind of technology, you see here at left we have Sandra's Champlain is dead, and inside the egg, his apparition. You see that I think that the egg, it sounds funny, but in truth, I think that it simply helps to maintain, to keep inside the energy and the light, and this becomes easier for them to manipulate and create the images.
I will ask a quick question to cut in on this egg. How did you get the concept to record images in this egg shape? How did this idea happen?
You have no idea how many mad ideas comes to my mind. And after, for instance, these simply appear in my mind, and then I try something to make it function. And usually it is with very simple resources. And only now that I have a bit of support and things are getting better, but I usually use, lots of flashlights, everything very, very simple, and they always work. Maybe it is to show that they don't depend on our technology, on our devices. They have the things that function in their side. And now you will see the image forming inside the egg. Amy will show for us.
And these are two of Kyle's, so they're from two different recordings, but I'm just playing them back to back, okay? Just a second.
Okay. As you see, it is a completely different image that her mother never saw.
So you can notice it on the first one, it's like it goes black for a second. It's sort of like it's all gathering together, and then the image appears. So yeah, let me show that. See, it just goes dark, and then it appears. So it's like I don't know what it's doing, but it's interesting.
And the important point to specify with these images is that they are original images. So it's not like you go on Facebook and you think, oh, well, that's the image.
Yes, sure.
These are images that nobody else has seen, like the image of Tesla smiling.
Yeah, it is really. And from Kyle, for instance, Caroline, his mother, have never seen such a face of her son. And this is Melissa, that appeared in the previous one with the curly hair. And here she had appeared already before inside the egg, always is smiling. And you see that there are a duplication, and in one she is smiling, and in the front she is not smiling. So many times they can include movement, and this is possibly a new step for the other side. And okay, now we will see a facing movement, which is a new achievement. And you see this girl, look that the eye moves from one frame to another and appears the teeth in one and not in the other. Also with this boy, the mouth and the eyes are different from one frame to another.
And I don't think we know who that boy is. I think he's still unidentified.
Yeah, and this is very interesting when we have the video to show. This boy was a noun, and we receive a lot of unknown persons, what means that we have no idea who they are. And then we usually spread in some lists so that parents may have a look and see if they identify, and then they send photos and so on. So I received this little boy, and I started calling him as the blue boy. We had no idea who he was. And it was very, very nice because he also has movement. Observe that in the picture at the left, we see the teeth, and in the other one, he is with the mouth closed. And in the next one, we will see the video, and you'll see that it was recognized by Lisa as being her son, Matthew. And it is so curious because I had never seen such a picture of this little boy, and it is so similar to the way he appeared. But he didn't die with this age. He was a teenager, and he appeared as a little boy, and then Elisa sent the picture. Let's see the video. It is frozen so that we can observe. It was simply formed in the static. And it is shaking because I was with a cell phone recording, and I was, walking around the egg. That is the egg.
Where is the static coming from that's in the egg?
In those mini projector, remember? That's projecting the static inside the egg. They were 3 at that moment. Okay, and I think this is one of my favorite technology, which is very recent, that I discovered casually. That was the use of vapor. And once again, the casuality was our best partner, because I was just looking around here, and then I looked, it was a hot day like today, and I looked at the humidifier, and I said, oh, this could function. And then I turned it on and put the vapor close to me, and when I saw the video, I was shocked because there were wonderful transimages. And then I used this technology in the event in Orlando. So in the workshops, we also tested with vapor. So here at left, we have an attendee of the workshop, Beth, and aside her, it was created in the vapor, this beautiful boy. And here up, we have Steve from Banyan. He is one of the responsibles for the Banyan Institute in Kent, in UK. And aside him appeared this huge image made in the vapor, because I think that there is a possibility that the vapor will be able to substitute the materializations. Maybe. It's just my guess now. Unhappily, I couldn't test again, because I'm still working on the videos, because there was so much results in Orlando. Up to today, I'm still watching the videos. But in the image below, we see Stefania, also from Orlando, and a beautiful image created in the vapor that is manipulated in the vapor. So it is one after the other. The video is absolutely impressive. Okay.
And I want to add that the reason she's still looking at the videos is people don't realize she has to go frame by frame, and there's 30 frames a second.
Yes.
So you can imagine just a few minutes of video, how long that takes to look at.
So you have to analyze all 30 frames per second until you notice the image that is there. So how many frames would it take up?
Well, some thousands, some millions, maybe. But obviously, presently, I'm so quick in getting perceiving the images that I don't go one by one. But yes, it is extremely long anyway, because each recording that we made there was about 4 minutes for each one. So this would be some 15,000 images for looking for each one. So it's a lot. But by other hand, we had so many results that I say, no, I cannot simply put this in the drawer, because they had the work, the trouble of producing this for us. So I will see. For instance, this lady Lily was there too. And this was one image that was formed aside her. And then she returned and she said, I think this image looks like my fiancé when he was younger. I said, for God's sake. And yes, so in the vapor, they created the image of her fiancé, and nobody knew that. And he died with an age more than this face. So he is younger in this and created in the vapor. I think that this is fantastic. And what else we have? Oh, yes, here is Brandon again. And I wanted to bring this because animals also survive. I think that persons has doubt about it. Yes, they survive. And yes, they appear. So it is aside Brandon, a dog. And aside Amy, we have, she was there, and not only helping, but she participated of the recordings as well. And she brought some images that I cannot see now because I have the people of the
I think that's
okay.
Back. Yeah.
Say you, Amy, please.
What?
Say what was aside you, because I couldn't see them.
Like a kitty cat.
Ah, the kitty cat. Yeah, that's it. Okay, and something that appears quite frequently are aliens, also in the vapor, in any resource. This one appeared substituting Stephanie in the vapor. And lots of humanoids appear because they are working in those transmissions, and they are eager to appear and tell us that we are not alone. So let's see next. Yes, and that was Amy's remembrance to say that we are I think that in December we will have a new setup suggested by Scott Milligan's guide, Daniel, and we hope that will be very complicated. It's a very huge and complex setup, but we are doing it, and it will be we hope, for bringing the deceased ones in three-dimensional view. They will also bring movement inside the egg, as Daniel suggested, and in color. So we will see what will happen after December, but we are very anxious to see what will happen. And I think that's it.
Wow. So
and I'll turn on the light here with a second.
There we go. And that's how you can find us. We have Facebook and Instagram, and all of Sonia's reports are on Patreon. Our Rinaldi Institute email is not working, so if you want to get a hold of me, you can either message me on Facebook at Rinaldi Institute, or there's my email. So
fabulous. I wish we could all applause, but I think it would cause audio issues. So we, but if you're watching at home, you can clap, and then it happens in spirit. Great. So thank you so much for that. And I'm so happy we can have something like this on Afterlife Topics for people to be introduced to this. So I want to address something, because inevitably there will be some critical thinkers or skeptics. So I want to address just something real quick. I will ask you, Amy, which is, these images are produced on the spot. There is no time for anybody to be recording and taking the image and then taking it back to their computers and deciding to like create this Photoshop thing. These are things that happen there while it's being recorded, such as the images coming out of the static. People can see it happening, no?
we did that in Orlando, because what you saw there was only the workshop part, but we also did, we had the 2 eggs and 8 projectors with the static, and it was in front of about 40 people. Now, to see the video, the images happen very quickly, so you have to see them, you have to review it, but in that particular situation, you could see faces forming. And I know somebody was like, oh my God, Silvana, is this your dad? And, you know, and she's like, that's my dad. So people there could see it in real time, which is rare. Usually you have to review the video, but occasionally you can see it while it's happening.
And so then another aspect of this that I think is very interesting is that there's a corroboration happening with the physical mediumship side. So you have Scott Milligan now that you've teamed up with, and so Scott Milligan is a physical medium. And you know, on this show, we've had physical mediums talk to us before. If you can check back in the show archives for people who don't know much about what physical mediums can do. But there is a joint corroboration, so that, in other words, spirits coming through Scott Milligan are confirming the work that's being done through you and through the research station that's in the afterlife, correct?
Yes, and I'll elaborate on that, because in this situation, Scott's going into trance because he's a deep trance medium as well. And Sonia's team, her spirit team, is speaking through Daniel, who is speaking through Scott. And you can tell when it's Daniel really and when it's her team, but they're giving us incredibly specific instructions. Some of it was like over my head. I was like, we're gonna have to find like a scientist to understand. But you know, yeah, they're giving us really good information. So we're excited.
And then there was another physical medium, which was David Thompson, who I was with Sonia when, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, when the Konstantin Rodiv, a spirit alleging to be Rodiv, materialized in the room. And Sonia, Rodiv gave like this technical information to you about adjusting some of your equipment. And did you ever follow up on that? And did it work?
Yeah, he came for that, for giving me some technical instructions. And obviously, I'm not from the technical area, so when I arrived back to Brazil, I contacted an engineer who is working in a device for some time already, and he got those information, and that was not complete for him. So I had to make some other recordings to put some questions to the other side to get more information, so that the engineer Thales could build the new device. He's still working in it, because he buys many spare parts from China, and it delays long, and some he has to do himself, some circuitries he has to make himself. But I think that as per Thales' idea, this is supposed to bring a double via conversation in real time. So well, he knows that whenever he has it ready, he will bring it here for us to test.
Yes.
Is your name Sonia?
Yes. Yes.
There's a man that wants to speak to you, Mrs.
Oh.
His name is... Hold on. No, he wants to tell you his name himself.
Oh. All right. He's going to tell you his name. Thank you.
Sonia Rinaldi.
Yes?
My name is Constantine Radovan.
Oh, Mr. Howard, thank you for your presence. Thank you.
I want you to know that I am working with you a lot of the time.
He's working with you a lot of the time. Oh, thank you. I'm sorry, sometimes I don't understand quite well, but Sherry is helping me.
I want you to know that there is a problem with the communication.
What? There's a problem with the communication. Yes, is there anything that I can do?
Yes.
Sure, please tell me.
You need
Yes?
to create
Yes?
an electrical current between two capacitors.
Create electrical current with two capacitors. Yes, if you can help me to reach these, I'll try all the way.
I will try. I will bring word through your communication channels, and I will help you, and we will accomplish many things together.
He said he will help you and you will accomplish many things together. Okay, thank you. Thank you. I'll do anything that I can.
Yes, I know, and that is why I come to work with you often.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you.
You know that I call you Mr. German, right?
You can call me what you wish.
Call me everything. Okay, thank you.
Have you seen my face? Yes.
Have you seen his face yet?
No. Have you seen it? Can you see his face?
I will appear on your communication.
Oh, wonderful. He'll appear on your images. Oh!
You will see me on your images, yes.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Mr. Howard, I think that we should do more than we are doing, and I don't know how. And I think that what you people in the other side is doing is so important, and we have to do more for you, but we don't know how. If you can tell us or help us to help you.
Yes, I know, and I will do this. I will inspire with the schematic for the capacitor for communication.
Yes, anything, since I know what to do. I will.
And I will help you.
I thank you
It
so
is
much.
important that you know I will help you.
Can I make another question? Long ago, you apparently made some phone calls to Earth,
Yes.
and including to me. But this didn't happen anymore. Why is it? If it was possible for you to make a phone call, let's say 10 years ago, why it didn't come again? Why it didn't happen again?
Because the vibration of the fabric of the physical world prevents this from happening.
Oh, is there anything that we can, well, I don't know if this is important for you, but...
My dear, you are doing more than enough, that I can tell you.
Oh, I thank you so much.
We will do more work together. You in your world, I in mine.
Oh.
So yes, it is on the way.
Konstantin Rodiv also called you around 1992, 1993. Is that correct?
You mean at the beginning?
Yes, I saw a video.
Phone call. Oh yes, yes, yeah. In truth, I mentioned that in that seance of David Thompson. Yes, he called me by telephone some 3 times, and that's why I mentioned that in that seance.
And were you aware the ITC researcher Mark Macy had also received telephone calls by Konstantin Rodiv around the same time?
Yes, of course. I met Mark Macy sometimes. I also met him in England, also in Mexico. Yes, of course. We all received it at more or less the same time. Also, the American pioneer Sarah Stepp also received a conversation, a phone call from Howdev, and I received it in Brazil. So it happened to some persons, mainly here in the United States, and that's why I asked it that day about it.
And Rodiv, when I've listened to these phone calls that are online, which, you know, you diligent researchers you guys are, you've been able to record these phone calls. It sounds the same in all the phone calls, and I noticed when Rodiv came through, David Thompson also sounded like Rodiv from the phone calls. So that's something for people to think about. And Rodiv explained during the David Thompson seance the reason that that spirits stopped making direct phone calls to us is because of wireless internet and issues like that interfering with their world, basically preventing them from making that connection. Am I getting that? Am I remembering correctly?
Yeah, in truth, he mentioned a word which is quite interesting for us. He said that this was not possible to happen again due to the fabric of the universe around the Earth didn't allow them to reach us anymore. He used the word fabric. So I think it is quite interesting. It is possibly referred to internet and GPS and all these networks.
He said the fabric of the atmosphere on your Earth has changed. That fabric of the atmosphere, yeah.
Sounds like 4G to me. I wonder if 5G is going to really mess things up. But we'll have to get Corey, the IT guy, on it and see if he can help fix this issue. But sorry, I don't mean to pick on you, Corey. So, all right. So another thing I wanted to bring up before we go to the Q&A from the audience, which is another big area of this is living people coming through. And so this has included your work with autistic children, as well as, from what I understand, people who, like myself, who have gone out of body and decided to go to what is a research station that is run by Nikola Tesla and Rodiv on the astral side, on the astral plane. So they, physically go there in the astral world, and then going to the station, then coming through the equipment. This has happened, no?
Yes, I made some tests. I think that I made some, in the total, maybe some 15 recordings, including healthy people and sick people. And from the sick people, I tested with 2 children with autism, another one with spinal something, I don't know, and but the little boy couldn't speak, and in truth he couldn't not even nearly breathe. And also with my father, when he was close to death, he was a terminal patient. I tested with persons with cancer that couldn't speak anymore. It was in the last week of their lives. So all these people was conducted to the station and could speak from there. And also with healthy people, and I tested with some American friends, and it was very surprising, the results. In truth, it was not me who discovered this possibility. These appear in the spiritualistic literature for more than 100 years, but nobody pay attention to these, and this is something so extremely important nowadays. For instance, for the medical area, these could be of an incredible help. For instance, if you have a person in coma and you think that the person is, let's say, comfortable, if that is the word, but the person could need something, could be thirsty, could be wishing to see a relative, would like to leave a message to a relative, and not to be there like a vegetable in the bed, So I think that for medicine, this will be a revolution, if it is not me who will do it, because it is impossible to do everything. But I think it is a very important area, yes.
Yes, I've heard, I guess if we want to call them still EVPs, but digital voice from children who don't speak, who are have autistic issues. You've also done this, no?
Yes, I think that these could change the families of people who has a daughter or a boy with autism, because usually they think that the child is not aware of what is happening, and it seems that the child is out. And in the recordings that I made with a little girl with 11 years old, she spoke things in the recordings that her mother was absolutely shocked, because she said, "Oh, I had no idea that my daughter knew all these." The daughter mentioned, for instance, the girlfriend of her father, and I didn't know that her parents were separated, they were divorced. And also the girl complained about the diet that the mother was imposing. So she complained, and she also sang, so it was absolutely amazing. And I think that this is a special area inside instrumental transcommunication, and people should devote more to this research, but we do what we can, right?
So I have one more question for you, which I think, in my opinion, is the most important question in terms of this technology, which is this communication happening technologically, or is it happening through you acting as a medium? In other words, can this happen independently of anybody because they have technology and it's coming into our side, or does it require a medium?
Thank God. I think that you are the only one who perceived this. In truth, yes. I think that they are preparing the way to be free of us. Yes, it is technical communication, and they don't need us.
So, I'm sorry, Amy.
Yeah, I feel like he's saying, can anybody do it, or do you need to be? I think, in my opinion, anybody has the capacity, but you have to develop a relationship with the spirit world. Like, if you just walk up with the same exact equipment that we have, you're not necessarily going to get anything. But it's just like mediumship. If you really devote your time and develop that connection with spirit, then yes, you're going to start seeing things happening, I would think.
So the big distinction here is, okay, so first, on that side, from what I understand, is that, okay, so Rodiv, Tesla, and these other guys, they built this research station on the astral plane. And that right away, some people are watching, they're like, what do you mean built? At the other side, it's all orbs of light and clouds and harps. But no, as we know, that is not the case. The astral plane is just a density higher than this one. So yes, they built a physical station, and they work there. And then if someone has developed a relationship with them, they will, I guess, direct their equipment toward your equipment here. And then the phenomena will begin happening. So it's not like it just happens by itself. It's a cooperation between two different groups. That's basically what you're saying, right, Amy?
Yes.
That's what I think.
Yeah, it's perfect, yes. Yes, and in truth, I think that it's these that you mentioned, and still one more detail. In one of the communications from Daniel, from Scott Milligan's guide, he said that what I will test from December on, that I was mentioning, it was already tested for them. What means, if I understand, that they are in our future, so that they know what will work, what will not. And he said that this test has already happened. So I think that this question of time is something extremely important, and it was something that Tesla was extremely interested in, the theme of time when he was alive. And I'm sure that now is possibly one of his his greatest interest, because I think that many times when I see some aliens, some humanoids, I wonder if they are contacting us from a certain space or from a certain time. But I think this is something that we will discover.
The subject of time is crazy. Couple more questions. I know we're running longer, but I think this is a very important interview, so I'm not going to constrain myself. And so I want to ask a couple of more things. On that subject of time, have you heard anything about time travel or time experiments, or the ability to go back and forth in time? Because I know you also channel, and there are people here in this world who claim that we have done top secret experiments that have sent people to different points in time. And have you heard anything about this?
Yeah, in truth, not about these persons on Earth, but frequently they mention that they are talking to the past. The past casually is us, you know. So they are talking to the past. They said that many times, and there was a particular recording that happened with Suzanne Wilson, that American famous medium, and I was talking to her through Zoom, and it was something very, very complex. I'll not detail now for not taking it long, but. While we were talking, in her room, there appeared a sound that she, thank God, could record. I couldn't listen here. And she was talking to me, but I couldn't listen anything. But happily, she recorded everything. And then she sent me the recording. In that recording, that was absolutely not understood studiable, we could not understand, because it was something very high, something like, and I thought for some days, I said, oh my God, no, this has to be something. They wouldn't make a recording in Suzanne Wilson's house for nothing. It has to be something. And then came to my mind to down the pitch of the voices, and obviously, bingo, yes, it was human voices in another range, much higher, speaking, and they said, again, we are talking to from the future, we are talking to the past, and so on. So I think that people in the future are testing with us. They are testing with us because now we have technology. They couldn't do this before because there was no technology to whom they would speak in the years 40. So there was no test. So from now on, they can make tests from the future. They are humans, they are us within 300 years. We don't know. But I think this is very
That's a whole can of worms, isn't it? I want to ask you one more thing also, which was a lot of mediums, and even physical mediums, even my friend Marcus, I've been receiving the same messages lately about some kind of shift happening on Earth, a shift in the spirit world, a shift on this world. If we know the word shift as in a change, some energy that is coming or something that is changing. And have your contacts on the other side said anything about this?
In truth, there was some references which let us perceive that something will happen to the planet. Yes, it seems that someday will happen something. For instance, once Howdiv said, the sun will will shake. I don't know how to say it. The sun will shake. This is somewhat dangerous for us. It's something like a flare that could reach Earth and so on. But he didn't say anything about when or what. So, but yes, it is suggested that, yes, something will happen to the planet, yes.
There's a lot of talk in the extraterrestrial community about a solar flash happening that will knock out all of our electronics, but it will also be part of a vibration shift. So it's interesting that you received that message. Now I am more concerned than ever that I should be stocking up on canned beans and ravioli in case all our electronics go down, because messages from ETs keep saying this again and again, that there's going to be a solar flash. So that is now something to think about. Okay, well, it's like there's so many other topics that can be opened up. It's best to stop that here. So now we will open up soon to people watching who are patrons of Afterlife Topics. So you're all watching Afterlife Topics and Metaphysics. If you haven't done so yet, please go down, hit that subscribe button, like the video, share this if you think the message is important and you want other people to be introduced to this subject. Then you can help with that by sharing the video. You can also become a patron yourself over at Afterlife University, which is at afterlifetopics.com/university, or just sign up as a patron at patreon.com/Afterlife Topics to help keep the show going and help keep future projects going and all of that. And then you can join in on these conversations, be able to ask guests questions. And also, I will remind people watching you can help support Sonia's work through becoming a patron of Sonia's. And so I will be sure to put links for that in the description of this video if you want to get involved directly and help expand this area of research, which depends on the people doing it, because elite corporations and organizations, well, heck, they're probably doing all this, but they're probably doing it in secret, and they wouldn't want us normal folk to have access. But we don't want that, do we? We want this stuff out among the public So it's up to us to fund, create experiments, get information out there ourselves. So that's something to think about. Okay. With that said, I will now open it up to the audience. So the first dibs goes to anybody writing in the chat, because Samantha, you mentioned something. I don't know if you wanted to say anything in the video, Samantha? Maybe not. Okay. So anybody else who wants to talk or ask Sonia a question, first come, first serve.
I do.
Teresa, yes.
Yes. Hi, Sonia. I'm really impressed and amazed by you. And I've been trying to practice EVP, but I just can't understand what they're saying. How do you get it so clear, or do I just need a lot of practice and studying?
Yeah, I think that once someone asked me, what matters for you to succeed, the devices or the 30 years? And I said immediately, the 30 years. So in truth, I think that it is, no, obviously that it will not take 30 years, because obviously we discovered many things, we tested many things, and let's say that the way is open now. But I think that, one thing that I usually say is a sentence that says the following: they speak, you don't listen. Okay? And this is true. And when Amy said that the people had difficulty in watching the video that we recorded, because we forgot to say that all the recordings that we made in Orlando was given to the attendees. So all of them had the same thing as me, because it was recorded in Amy's laptop. So they could see precisely what I saw, right? But people, they could not see. So after I see, or after I listen, the person says, oh yes, of course, I didn't listen, that I didn't perceive. So I think that is really a question of practicing and training in your ear. I'm sure that whenever you record, if you are recording in the correct way, that's another point. If you're recording in the correct way, for sure there are answers there. Maybe you are not listening, or you're not recording correctly, but that is something that we can talk later.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Any more questions for Sonia?
I have a question. This is Dee. Yeah. Hi, pardon my voice. Hi, Sonia. That was pretty remarkable. My children's father passed about 9 days ago. And do you know how many stations there are on the other side?
In truth, as far as I know, there are many, because they prepare themselves for testing with different regions in the world, and they need the stations to be prepared with that language in special. But obviously that all this has a supervision, and so there is, for instance, possibly many stations under as an umbrella of the North Station. The North Station was a bit silent until some years ago, but now, yes, they are, you know, full of energy and willing to contact us and testing, because they have to test so that they improve the communication. People may imagine that only to be in the other side is the solution for them to know everything. No, they have to test. They have to experiment with our devices, which is a very primitive technology. So they have to test, and they need this. They need this cooperation for them to improve their technology. So there are lots of stations, but I think that there are 3 big sets of stations. So the North Station, the South Station, and the one for Europe, which is the Central Station. So they are very active and wishing to affect us anymore.
Oh, thank you for sharing that. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Dee. Any more questions for Sonia?
I think Samantha popped up in the chat again.
Samantha, but okay, so you were going to ask something, but then Teresa asked it for you. Okay.
I was going to say something. Oh, is Samantha hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Regarding the stations, it's interesting because Sonia worked only with the South Station, and she would try to contact people in North America, which is a different station, but it would only come through in Portuguese. People who spoke English, but she would only hear it in Portuguese. She's like, why can't I get it in English? But it wasn't until Tesla joined the two stations. Oh, okay, now we can get it in English.
I want to ask about that. So these stations, like the one that's in North America, one that's in South America, but is this referring to North America on the astral plane and South America on the astral plane, as in, like, I've discovered there's like a copy of this planet on that frequency? Is that accurate, or is these stations, is that just a name of the station that's connecting our side?
Yeah, it is for the region and for the language. In truth, completing what Amy said, because this was very interesting and took me some years to understand. It was a puzzle for me, because I used it to record for so many years, and obviously I was very glad that there came replies in Portuguese, and okay, it's okay. But once I was invited to go to the United States, and then I said, well, I think that it is not possible that nobody in the station, I didn't know the name by that time, I didn't know that, I said, no, anyone can say anything, hello, it is a hello, I'll be glad with the hello, it's okay for me. And then I insisted and put questions in English, and they replied perfectly in Portuguese. And said, come on, people, what is going on? I need some examples in English so that I can show. So in the first time that I went to the United States, I went to Georgia, and I still didn't have any example in English. And I couldn't understand why. That didn't make any sense for me. Why they couldn't speak in English? It didn't make any sense. I tried all the ways. I tried to contact people living in the United States who lost someone, and I said, oh yes, I think that the deceased one will speak in English. No, in Portuguese. I said, oh my God, what is this? And then much later I could understand that these stations functions with something like, let's say, let's call a robot, or I don't know what, it's a possibly huge machine who that interprets the deceased ones, and is the one who makes the contact effectively on Earth. Why this is now make total sense? Due to the accuracy that they record. For instance, they are able to reply before my question. If it was a human in the other side, would never be able to do that, because he'll never know what I will ask. And they are very precise in time. So you see that is technical. That is not a human mind thinking. So after all these years, I perceived that the intermediation, the interface is a machine. So possibly the deceased one is aside, let's say, watching me in a screen, and I am here recording so they can see me, and they will think something, and the machine will give me the reply with the voice. So that's why the machine has something like a library. It is like a Google with a certain language. The machine can express anything but in that language. That's why they could only speak in Portuguese. So even that there was an American deceased one there, the machine would interpret it in Portuguese. When the North Station started being active, happily, yes, the machine is prepared with the vocabulary in English. So that's how they started being able to talk in English, and that's how they speak in English now. So it's all things that we have no idea. We think that it is this deceased one that is speaking, but this is not possible. A deceased one will never know how to reach us, how to speak. If you make any question, they are very precise and very short. We are not like that. Well, I'm talking here for some seconds or some minutes already because we're not short, but they are, and they are very precise. So it is the machine that reads the thought of the deceased one and talks to me, so that is recorded. So it is more complex than we imagined.
It could almost, I mean, if that kind of technology were here, then it would be like a Star Trek universal translation device. Then, you know, if somebody is speaking in Mandarin, and then it would just interpret the information that is in thought form and then translate that into whatever is the appropriate language instantaneously. And so they...
Which film you say, what did you say, which is the film, the movie? Star Trek?
Yeah, so it would be like a futuristic Star Trek kind of device that would just take whatever you're thinking and then turn this into the language that somebody else needs to use. So let's say that you are meeting an extraterrestrial who doesn't speak any kind of Earth language. Like, you would need a machine to take that information that is in thought, yeah, and then to turn this into whatever language you understand, right? So it is like, yeah, this kind of like future technology.
Yeah. Maybe they are the future, right? They are in the future.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking about. Like the technology that they are using is possibly our technology in the hundreds of years, where you can translate things like this. Or, yeah. Does anybody else have any questions for Sonia? Are we out of questions? Anybody else have anything? Now is your time. I guess not. Okay, it's like an auction kind of, you know, like going once, any questions, going twice. All right. Well, I guess we can finish soon. Sonia and Amy, I want to ask about, well, we've talked about the upcoming developments and things that are being worked on still with Scott Milligan, the physical medium. What more things are being worked on? Is there anything else that either of you would like people watching to know about or to be able to get involved?
Well, as I said, I think that after December, we will test this new device with include running water. So I think it is, that's why it's complicated, because to make something with water running, it wouldn't be easy inside the house, right? There is no sink around. But anyway, it is nearly being completed. And we have no idea what we will receive. No idea. Maybe, well, I have the guess that one day, I don't know if it will be with that device or someone else, I think that one day we will have the deceased ones materialized technically, and the materializations will be able to move around and walk.
Do you mean like a holographic image?
Yes, yes, perfect, yes. But will this new device that was suggested by the other side do that? I have no idea. But I think that maybe the fascinating thing in ITC is this, that every time it's something new, every time it is a surprise. So we have no idea what will happen. But I hope that something will happen very, very important, as the vapor. I think that the vapor is incredible.
I have one more question, actually. So, given that the creation of this phenomenon is technological and not mediumistic, does this mean that it is possible for, I'm sure you know about the soul phone, for a technology like the soul phone that is being developed to work as a non-mediumship based device where you could just talk to somebody through a communication like this? Do you have any thoughts about the soul phone?
Well, I don't. I don't have any thoughts about it.
No problem. I think
we're just something, what we do is just different, you know. But I will point out that those domes you see behind Sonia, that's going to be part of it. Those really big domes, we had to have those specially made. And we're going to have water coming over them. And there's a big table being built because all the projectors need to be rotating. And they have to be certain colors. And so it's going to be exciting. And I do want to say also another project. Sonia has a passion for teaching the youth and teenagers about the afterlife, because she's seen so many children, you know, young people commit suicide, and she wants them to know that life does continue. It's not like you can kill yourself because you can't die. You just can't. And so she is working on some comic books about Tesla to help just explain that. And so that's just another passion of hers.
Sonia, how many books do you have?
Some, I say some because they are, I don't, books, I mean with paper, they are 25. But lately, I think that in the late 8 or 10 years, I just publish e-publishing, like e-magazines or e-books, because you cannot talk about the instrumental transcommunication and the person not to listen or not to see. So it has to be with audio and with voices and with videos. That's why they are e-books or e-magazines. So I think that in English we have 23 e-magazines. And in Portuguese, I think we have some 15. We are late for translating because I published first in English and then in Portuguese. So I don't know, some 50 maybe, I don't know.
Okay, but also you have a book that is, you do channeled work. So the information comes through you and into a book?
No, just one is like that, that was channeled. But all the others are really only research. It is the research of every day and all the transimages and how I made it, and I many times edit the video for the person to see how it happened, and so that also can do it if the person wants, and also has the voices as well. So it is just one was, let's say, channeled. All the others were is really research.
But I don't think that the channeled book has not been released in English yet. It's only in Portuguese.
No, it is nearly. In truth, Lisa, remember, she was she made the translation, and it is missing some 6 chapters for finishing. Then I stopped it, but I will return it so that yes, sometime we will have it. Not yet, but yes, we will have it in English.
It's super complicated.
Yeah.
Understanding.
Yeah, that one was channeled. Yes, it was a bit complicated in truth. Yes.
Maybe we'll have to talk again more about the ET subject. You know, there's such a complicated area. But all right, so do we have any last questions for Sonia before we finish? I think not. Okay.
I would like to say something, Cyrus,
yes.
Taking the opportunity, about the question that Amy talked about the suicides. I think that it is nearly our obligation. We that deal with the afterlife topics, is our obligation, I think, to try some way to reach people mainly teenagers and children, to say that life goes on. Why? Because the first time that I started talking to mothers from the United States, I was shocked with the number of suicides. I think that it was from the first 30 mothers that I helped, I think that 20 or more were mother of suicide, boy or girl, and some with the age of 14 years old. For God's sake, that is something terrible. So I think that this area of the suicides are something extremely important. We have to try to help, mainly telling children. I think that one day in the future, these afterlife topics will be theme for school. I think the children should know these since the school, and then they will not do these, will not commit suicide. But
I think, unfortunately, it will happen in Brazil before it happens in the USA for the school, probably. But, you know, I do believe that awareness of the afterlife reduces suicide. Some people have criticized that would it increase suicide because people will think, oh, that world is so much better than this world. But I think that the reason that suicide is high is because especially young people, they are introduced, they begin to get this idea that the world is based upon materialism and it's meaningless, and their whole future is going to be meaningless, and that spirituality is not real. And they begin to hear this, they get this idea, and I think that this in secret causes a lot of stress and depression. And especially young people who are sensitive, and they are here on a mission, and then they start getting told this idea that there is no mission, that there is no spirit, that there is no other dimensions, that there is only just the flesh, nothing matters, nothing is real, everything is the brain, blah, blah, blah. And this is something I think that causes so much suicide. I don't know what do you think?
I think you are quite right, yes. If we can do anything, we have to try. But it is something shocking, the number of suicides. It is impressive. And in all types of way, with guns, with hanging themselves. My God, it is shocking.
Yep, it's a major epidemic, and I think so much of it is cultural and psychological, and I think this subject has a big part to play in assisting with preventing this. But anyway, well, I guess that's it then. So I want to thank Amy and Sonia for coming in, and thank also everybody watching who came to participate. So again, you can get involved at the Facebook group Afterlife Topics and Metaphysics, and get involved with the Rinaldi Institute at the links in the description of this video. So with that, I'm going to say thank you and goodbye to everybody. So Amy, thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you.
And of course, Sonia, thank you, of course, for...
Thank you, Sonia and Amy.
Thank you, Sonia and Amy, so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
You two are wonderful. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, I will leave. I will leave the chat open, but I will leave if anybody. This is a hangout spot. So anybody who wants to chat or hang out, I'm going to go eat dinner. So see you guys next time.
Thanks so much.
It's special because most people just can't, and they want to, but they just either they don't put the time into it or the effort, or for whatever reason it just doesn't come through. So at least it's nice to see that it's happening with somebody. And those voice messages that you played back are just absolutely perfect. I don't think I've ever heard anything that clear.
Yeah, I have to return it to the voices, but I still have so many videos to see from Orlando still. But I think I have to, because they made some beautiful things. So the problem is that it's a lot of work, but I don't care. Just one thing, I don't know from where you are, if you are seeing that there is a half face here. I don't know if you can perceive, But I'm recording now, so that I will send it to Cyrus and Amy, so if they want to share, but there is a face here. I don't know if
you're
can be great.
frozen.
Just
So
half, with a big nose. Can you see? Oh, here is the eye. Let's see. Here is the eye. Here is the nose and the mouth.
Oh, I see.
What?
Can you see now?
What?
Well, you're frozen, so you have low bandwidth or something, so you're not really coming through. But I can see you pointing back there. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that as I recorded this part, I think that we'll be able to